Our journey with Fast Forward begins only 2 days after the release of SSX 2012, and to make this video a little bit more concise, I'm not going to mention any times above 1 minute in length. A player by the name of Bacon4464 has the earliest documented record of a run with a very reasonable 54.99, which he posted on the 2nd of March 2012. What makes this even more impressive is that given how early this is documented, he probably didn't have full level gear. For those of you familiar with Fast Forward, it is one of the shorter drops in the game, which means that making improvements to a record can be a little bit more difficult because there's less room for error. It didn't take long for Bacon's run to be beaten though, as only 8 days later, Space Marine 360 posted an incredible 51.26 to his YouTube channel on the 10th of March 2012. The line that Space Marine took in his video would really set out a blueprint for other racers to follow and improve upon, and it would give us a bit of a glimpse into what times could potentially be possible in years down the line. It took a while for a better run to appear on YouTube. Space Marine's time remained unbeaten for 106 days until SSX posted a really good time. He managed to get 47.53 and he uploaded that to his YouTube channel on the 24th of June 2012. By this time, SSX was actually using the highest level gear possible and had optimised the racing line which Space Marine had set out. SSX's time of a mid 47 is actually commendable even to this day, over 8.5 years later. Now let's skip ahead 2 years into July 2014, where we see an upload from a player called Yonder with a time of 47.39. That doesn't sound like much of an improvement given the large gap of time, but he did do something different on his run. The line he used is pretty much the same as SSX's, set in June 2012, however Yonder does get tricky time much earlier. Instead of tricking to the rails beneath the hut, he actually goes slightly left and rides in the snow, which minimises his airtime. This small alteration to the racing line would become paramount for progressing the record even further in runs to come. Just under 5 months later, we see Mist enter the party, posting a time of 47.19 on the 7th of December 2014. That's exactly 0.2 of a second faster than Yonder's previous record. And again, 0.2 seconds doesn't sound like a lot, but at this point, Fast Forward was getting pretty optimised, so finding a little bit more time to chip off the record was becoming more difficult. The race for sub 47 was on, but unfortunately a lot of players kind of left SSX at this point, and that left really only a few people going for the record. Mist's record remained in place for a total of 144 days, but on the 30th of April 2015, he basically beat the record himself to 47.06. He got 47.06 3 times, but sub 47 was possible, so people kept going for it. The next record took quite a while to come along. On the 9th of March 2016, or 314 days later, we see the record finally beaten, and we finally see a sub 47. A player named Refined Notion posted an amazing 46.96 to his YouTube channel, and this record, to be fair, looked to be unbeatable. He'd really optimised the racing line, but one part of his run really stood out: the final rail. Rails in SSX 2012, if you've played it at all, you'll probably know that they can be pretty buggy and they do weird things sometimes when you collide with them, so there is a bit of unreliability there. Refined Notion's final rail ejection was considered perfect at the time, Unlike any previous record, he was able to just skim part of the last rail and actually eject more to the left, which lined him up a little bit more direct to the finish line, but also minimised his airtime for that portion of the run. This technique did happen with a lot of luck, and no one was really able to replicate it, not consistently anyway. After posting this video, Notion did say that he thought a 46.6 would be possible, but would it? SSX 2012 did become backwards compatible on Xbox One in September 2016, and some old fans and some new players came to the game, but it didn't really stir up any fuss in the competitive side of the game. Now, 2 years from then, in April 2018, the servers were pulled and only 3-2-1 and survive events worked, which pretty much killed the competition on this game. At this point, Refined Notion had quit playing competitively, but would still hop on from time to time when he fancied doing a race. Fortunately, the player base on PSN was still going strong because the game has full functionality. Refined's record stood for 4 years, 5 months, but Mish returned back to Fast Forward in August 2020. He posted a run of 46.86 to his YouTube channel, and a tenth of a second here was a huge deal because of how optimised Refined's run was. Mish's YouTube video did provide some good insight because there was a small segment showing different ways to eject from the final rail, and this rail is pretty much what makes or breaks a record run on Fast Forward. From this point on, the record did improve another 4 times in less than a fortnight, and Refined Notion had also come back to try and claim the record again. A day after Mist's upload on the 13th of August 2020, I was able to match his record of 46.86. A few hours later, I had improved again by just over a tenth of a second to 46.73, and the small amount of time that I gained was actually due to doing a late jump onto the penultimate rail. This small technique was something that could be done pretty consistently, so I shared it with Refined Notion and he continued to play Fast Forward. Another day passed and Notion had claimed back the record. He managed to post a 46.69, which finally lived up to his comment back in 2016 about a 46.6 being possible. However, he was not done there. He kept playing Fast Forward for another week and improved the record twice more, first to 46.53 and then to an eye-watering 46.29 on the 21st of August 2020. It's funny to think that Lancaster's record back in June 2012 only improved by 1.24 seconds over 8 years. But the player base of this game is very small now, and particularly for players going for records, I doubt Refined's time is going to be beaten on this drop for a very long time. So thanks for watching, guys. This video sums up the records from 2012 all the way to 2020. I'm going to play Notion's record run in a moment for you so you can check out the clip for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.